Okay, today is March 22nd, Friday, and it's in the morning, probably about 10-ish. Anyway, I am heading back down to the northern station. I believe the last video you saw was on the 17th, a few days ago, and the saga just continues. I've said it many times, where should I go die? This is not my world. This is a society which is totally maladjusted, and instead of the greater good and working for what's right and compassion and humanity, the games continue. So this is the documentation, the videotaping of it continuing. You have to ask yourself many questions. One of them being, what is required to receive medical help in this society, in this community, for somebody who's obviously ill, has issues, is seeking primary care since, like it was mentioned on the tape before, his abandonment by his doctor many years ago. The fact that, he's been through federal court in a system that deliberately screwed him because it's set to do that, only to get a signed confession years later, and all the guilty parties who were involved in the, shall we say, mix-up, not accountable, no contrition, no remedy, no restitution, and then for it to start up all over again since the game is rigged. I think you can tell what I've received before, in following up and doing things that were correct, as I did in my emergency case. In that particular case, as I've stated before, the city attorney had me falsely 5150'd at my deposition, the chicanery in federal court with their expert witness not really being kosher, shall we say, and yet, it allowed to pass and me not allowed to speak, thereby depriving me of my due process rights. I mean, the entire farce just continues. Then, like I said years later, to basically not fight the OIG, the Office of Inspector General, which got the signed confession with, the copy of my federal court papers, which I submitted to them, and of course gave them no other information, for I didn't want it to be misconstrued that I had left something out, that changed the tide. No, it was the exact same paperwork, but when they go up against somebody who's poor and they can manipulate the system, there is no justice. But when they went up against the OIG, it's amazing how the confession, if you go to myownprivateguantanamo.com, has an admission of fault and guilt and liability. I believe it's number 6 on the signed confession if you go to the website. The amazing part was all the inhumanity through the entire process and all the inhumanity afterwards. Well, the inhumanity has never changed because they just continue to do the same thing in denying treatment, in denying people's medical rights, legal rights, everything else. And it's continued to escalate until the point of, like I said, these videos are being made to inform the public that you have no life, that there is no justice, and that it's all an illusion. Now, anyway, getting back to what is being said, I am now going back into the northern station to just verify that I have continually followed up, and the process is, of course, not working correctly because there's been no resolution, and this has been going on for how long now? We don't know. Let's continue. Hello. I take it Officer Fatu is not in today.
You called earlier today.
Pardon me?
You called earlier.
Oh, I've been calling, and I've also been taking notes. And as a part of my notes say, on 3/18 Monday, I spoke with PSA Moreno that Lieutenant Fatu would not be in and to please leave another message. On 3/19, I spoke with Officer Young, who said Fatu wouldn't be in all day. On 3/20, I spoke with you, and you said they would not be in all day. Yesterday, I spoke with you, and you said they would not be in all day. And I basically asked, what does it take to follow up? How long does it take to follow up? Is the procedure rigged and skewered? Today, you're correct. I called again, and I spoke to you. And, of course, once again, asked you to leave another message and said, that's probably been, 20, 30 messages now that there can't be appropriate follow-up with and everything else in this society seeking health care. Well, part of the reasons that I'm here is for proper follow-up to find out when she will be in so that I can continue instead of this continuing farce. Can you answer that question?
I don't have her schedule. I don't know what her schedule is.
Thank you. And if conveniently you won't know in the future, should I call back, correct?
Yeah.
So that's, a way to defeat me following up, not knowing and not being able to give me information, correct?
Right.
Thank you. Just to show how it doesn't work. I just want the public to know. Also, I have new incident reports that I've been wanting to file that, I need to set up a meeting for. So you might want to make her aware of that. And I also want to follow up as to who arrests and enforces for medical law violation that I've never been able to get an answer. As a matter of fact, I even need civil standby still for the OCC, the Human Rights Commission, the Mayor's Office of Disability, and the Department of Public Health, which has continued to, play this game with Section 632, that the city attorney has led them down a path which is, I believe, totally incorrect. Also, I'd like to follow up on, I don't know if it's Officer Hanley or Inspector Hanley, the person who, I believe it was December 12th, gave me incorrect information at 25 Van Ness, and of course follow up on that also. So could you please leave another message so that I can once again come in probably next week to videotape how we've consistently done everything correctly, inclusive of, let's say, yourself, but I know you're only doing your job and your hands are tied. Correct?
Yep, I'm leaving the message for you.
That's correct. And when that fails, I will be in next week again to continue to videotape and put on YouTube to show the inhumanity, the farce, how it's rigged not to work properly, and how I am still being victimized by the people who are supposed to be there to protect and serve. Isn't it a wonderful world? Especially when you get paid, correct? Thank you. Enjoy.